Okay, Billy Price coming to you from Lead Symphony, doing a training today. We're going to talk about leveraging your job pages to other parts of your website. Basically, with Lead Symphony, you can create content once and use it in a variety of places. We've already talked about how to use that in social media. We've talked about how to use that on team member bios, but I want to talk to you about 3 places that you should always use it on your website. First place you're going to use it is on your job page. We usually use Lightspeed Construction as an example, so I'm going to jump right in there. On your job page or project page, when you click View All Jobs, you will see a listing of any jobs that you've done that are published. This is basically like a gallery for your website. Under Jobs tab on Lightspeed, as you can see, we've broken things out into categories. We've got roof inspections, emergency roof repair, residential roof repair, commercial roof repair, gutter installers, storm and damaged roofs, sun tunnels. Anything we can anticipate that a customer might possibly want to read about or look about or see a job story about, we go ahead and put it into that section ahead of time. We do that by anticipating what the customer is going to want. The way to anticipate what your customer wants is by thinking like your customer. If you think like yourself, you're going to create something that's attractive to you. If you think like your customer, you're going to create something that's more likely to help you close the sale. So whenever I look to other areas of our website that where we want to use these job pages, I go to our team. This is our bios. When we have a bio in here, we list a thing for seeing that individual's work. It basically becomes a portfolio for that individual. That way, when they're out doing a sale, they can show jobs that they have done, that they have helped on. We do this for every sales team member. This is Victor. He is a superstar here at Lightspeed, and we like his work. So as you can see, these pages come from job stories. In just a few minutes, I'll get into how to create this. Victors are done by showing completed jobs or inspections or pretty much any type of job. When we go to Kirby's page, we did his a little bit differently. We're testing this to see how it'll work out. With Kirby's page, we show some of his happy customers, but we break it out into customer testimonials and completed jobs. We left inspections off of here. We left gutters off of here. Basically, we're just showing completed roofing jobs and testimonials. The reason for showing the testimonials, when customers see a job with a testimonial on it, it makes them more likely to see that job as a positive thing. So as they scroll through here, the one thing in common for all of these jobs is that they're going to have a video testimonial at the end. We always say get your video testimonial with you in the shot. When you go out to your customer, just go ahead and start talking and say, hey, can I get you to say a few words about how we did on this job? And just go ahead and stick the camera up in their face and see what happens. They can always tell you no after the fact. All right. So we've talked about 2 places where we leverage this. One is on the jobs page or project page. The other is on our team page. The other area that's super important for you to have on your website for getting those Google Near Me searches are area pages. When I go to areas, you see that these are areas in and around Knoxville, Tennessee. Sometimes you can look at zip codes. You know, Knoxville has probably about 40 zip codes. But when we go to these outerlying areas, these are all cities that are within 35 miles of Knoxville. I'll pop into Maryville here. And what we include on this is we include a map. We include Maryville and the state. That's important for Google Near Me searches. You could also use the zip code. As I scroll down, you'll see we offer a little bit of information, and this is generic for each area. But then we talk about keywords like emergency roof leak repair and the city and state, residential roof repair, re-roofs, new roofs, maintenance, city and state. Same goes for any of these categories. The reason we do that is that gets the Google long tail keyword tagged in with the city and state. That is how you get near me listings. At the bottom of these pages, we tag on any jobs that have been created in those areas. That's the basics about why you do it and what you do. I'm gonna show you how you do it now. If I go to the back end of Lightspeed Construction, which is a WordPress website, and I go to posts, I'm gonna add a new post. This may differ a little bit depending on how your website's put together, but if you give me a call or a text or an email, I'll be happy to work with you on how to do it for your individual website. I'm going to create a title. I'm just going to call this Black Mountain, North Carolina. I click publish. At this point, it's created it, and I can click edit with Elementor, which is our individual editor that we use. The new plugin that's coming out for Lead Symphony is going to start in Elementor first. I recommend Elementor big time because it's one of the fastest and easiest ways to create pages on your website. While we wait for it to load. Okay. You see we come up with basically our page template here, and I just need to add in a couple of things. If I wanted to add in some text, I could add in a text editor by dragging and dropping. Good thing it's running fast today, eh? This is where we paste that generic info that we talked about. For the purposes of this is a line of text. And this is the important part. Doesn't matter what else you put, as long as you put in that city and that state, it'll get you a Google Near Me search for any other text in that sentence. Now, the next part, we're going to add in the actual job pages. The way we want to do that is by putting in a category post. So I can type the word category to search the widgets. Category, let's type in blog. Oh. There we go, categories. I'll use the WordPress default plugin here. All right, there it is. This is not quite what I was looking for, so I'll cut this back out of the video in a minute. Let's try posts. There we go. We're going to use dynamic posts to put this in. I drop it in. Now you'll notice it just started dropping in all of our posts. We want to refine this a little bit. So I'm going to click on the edit. I'm going to scroll down. Now the first thing I want to tell it is the grid. I only want 3 columns because I want to make them a little bit bigger. If you wanted to make them smaller, put in more columns and make each story smaller. All right. Then I'm going to tell it the number of items that I want and what I want on the items. Basically, I want to have a title and the featured image. If I wanted anything else on here, I could add it, such as a description, date. We'll include the date just for fun here. All right. If I come on down to query, this is where I tell it I want jobs. And I only want things that are published. Now I go to my query filter, starting to take shape. I'm only going to do completed jobs for this one. So, and I'll do completed jobs by one individual person. So I can put in author. Here we start typing. So I do Victor's. Any individual that's got to log in with Lead Symphony will appear back here. And then I'm going to add one more result. And I'm going to do terms and taxonomy. Terms and taxonomy is just a fancy phrase for categories. Job categories. And let's do commercial roof replacement. There we go. There's one story in there. Let's try a different one that's got a few more things. If I wanted to, I could add multiples here as well. Completed projects. What this tells me is that Victor doesn't have any completed projects that are labeled as completed. So I'll change the, I'll just list any completed projects. As you can see, they're kind of big, kind of bulky. Let's make those a little bit smaller by going back up to grid. Change the number of columns to 5. And there I've got a listing of just completed jobs that are in this area. And that's the basics of how you create a page that leverages that content. So like we said, you want to put the content on multiple places on your site where your customers are going to look for it. They're going to look for it in the areas you serve. They're going to look for it in your portfolio, which is your jobs page or your projects page. And they're going to look for it on that team page for completed jobs by an individual. That's it for today. We are 15 minutes on the nose. Thanks for tuning in.